I have a Subaru Outback here. This one got hit in this left front corner right here, destroyed this apron assembly, and I have a new piece I'm going to be replacing. But first I'm going to use our measuring system to check the frame on this and make sure. I don't know if the frame might have got knocked over a little bit. I'm gonna check it, make some measurements, and find out for sure. And if I need to, I will put it in clamps and make some pulls, but I want to verify if the frame is off or not. And once I get that done, then I'll go ahead and start cutting this apron piece out. So first I have to match this measuring turtle to the vehicle so it knows, the measuring system knows exactly where the vehicle's sitting. So I go to 5 points in the center section of the vehicle, and that will match the measuring system to the vehicle. Then I can go to the front end and check it and see if the frame rail is off or not. So now I'm coming up here to the front and I'm gonna make some measurements. And you can see here right off the bat what I suspected. This is length, width, and height. 3 millimeters is the tolerance, but on the width, we're 17 millimeters off. So that means this whole front end is pushed over 17 millimeters. I kind of had a feeling of that, so I'm going to have to go ahead and put this car in clamps and get it locked down to the bench so I can make a pull and pull the side sway out of this. So they have measurements on where they want you to put these clamps, and you measure off the center of the rear wheel, and this one's going to be 680 millimeters. It's right about here. And the front one is going to be 2175. So right about here. So now that I moved the vehicle, when I put it in clamps, I have to recenter the measuring system so it matches the vehicle. So I'm going to go to these 5 points again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this reinforcement bar back on, and I'm going to use that to tie both frame rails together while I make my pulls. Now this was a negative 16 or 18 or something like that, and you have to over pull, so I actually pulled it to a positive 14, and then when I release it, I'll see where it flexes back to. Now we're at a negative 4, so I'm going to go a little further. It's getting close though. Now we got that zeroed out just about perfect right there. So I'm going to check a couple more points, make sure the front end's where it's supposed to be now. So this new part comes as an assembly, and it has this upper inner rail right here on it as well, but there's only a couple welds where this piece is attached to this piece. So I'm going to drill out those few welds and separate that, and I'm just going to put this front piece in, because getting into this is going to be a lot more in depth. So I am going to have to put this one on hold at this point. I just realized I didn't know, but I realized we need a fender. We're waiting on a fender for this one, and I need that to fit everything up to make sure this is exactly where it's supposed to be. All right, back onto this Subaru. My fender showed up, so I'm gonna go ahead and start fitting this one all together. So I've been fighting trying to get all of this to fit correctly, and it was almost like everything was still over even though it measured out perfectly. Well, it turned out, I just realized after doing some checks that the car actually slid on these clamps. I just didn't have them tight enough. They were tight, but just not tight enough, and they slid a little bit, so the car shifted a little bit, and it actually measured out fine because the whole car moved. So I'm gonna have to put the reinforcement bar back on here and make another pull and make sure it doesn't shift this time to get it just right. Usually isn't a problem, but this time it got me. All right, sure enough, I recentered the measuring system and it is off by 9 millimeters still. So let's try this again. And I tightened up the clamps so shouldn't move this time. There we go. I got it within 2 millimeters now, so it's within spec. So I'm gonna do a double check and make sure the vehicle didn't move. But as long as it didn't move, we'll be in good shape now. All right, I finally got this one fitting together good. All my gaps look good. So I am going to go ahead and pull this headlight and fender back off and get this apron structure welded in.